Hello, beautiful beings. Happy day 3. Let me know when you're signing on. Say hey. If you are watching a replay, #replay, let me know that you're replaying it. Participants at the end of the 5 days are entered to win a 30-minute session with me. And there's only 3 more days. 2 if you just count already tonight. So that's completely manageable and doable. Say hey when you're on. I hope everybody had a good Wednesday today. We're in the middle of the week. Bringing things in. Hey, Dorothy. Hey, thanks for joining. I appreciate it. I must have scared everybody away from yesterday. Telling everybody to look at their own shit. Just kidding. That's a joke. We'll wait like another minute, see if anybody else logs on. Tomorrow, I'm gonna be doing a little bit earlier. I have an evening commitment at 7. I'm teaching yoga. Hi, Sean. So if anybody wants Dorothy, what you need to hear to look at your own shit? So tomorrow it'll be a little bit earlier, and I will post in the page in the group and let you guys know what time it will be that I'll be signing on. I know that's right. Let's do this work. I'm here for it, Dorothy. You too. Let's get it. All right. Well, we're gonna get started, and the replay will always be in the group. So day 3, let's do a little recap. So day 1, we were getting clear on what it is that we desire, right? Writing our list, getting specific, core 4. Day 2, how to spot what's holding us back. What are our excuses? What are our fears? What are our blocks? What are we letting hold us back from the life that we desire? Where can we get a little bit more honest with ourselves? So day 3, today we're going to talk about how to let go of fear and self-sabotage. And we're just, we're going to go over some stuff, and then tomorrow we're going to go even deeper into it, right? Because this is a process. This is a practice. This is us showing up for ourselves every single day. If you want to commit to creating the life that you desire, that's what it takes. Commitment to you, to yourself, to, like I said, showing up for yourself. And that can be a practice, because I think that in our culture, our society, we can be so used to giving our power away, or doing what we think that we have to, or what is a societal norm, or what our parents tell us, or what anybody else is telling us, instead of going with what our intuitive heart tells us that we want, or that we know we want, what our soul is speaking to us. And when we tap in on that soul level, when we really get clear with the universe, God, everything, with what we want, those things can come to us. And sometimes we are fearful of the rejection that we may receive from the people that are important to us, that are close to us, the people around us, society. And we're afraid to do what it is that we want. But I am here to tell you that when you start actually doing what it is that you want, like I said in the past video, I think it was day 2, there's so much freedom on the other side. I had a weird life. I went out to the West Coast. I was a total gypsy. I just traveled. I did door-to-door sales, lived in hotels, traveled across the country, and I just refused. I refused to conform. And I got a lot of flack for it. My family did not really agree with the lifestyle that I chose. After I traveled selling magazines, I went to California to, I grew weed, I grew wine, and I I just did what I wanted. I wanted to explore, I wanted to be free, and I'm grateful that I had all the experiences that I did, and it taught me to be true to myself. So then when I came into energy work, that was huge for me to break those barriers of weird and not normal comparatively to like what, you know, society says, especially East Coast. Like we're talking 7 years ago on the East Coast. When I came back and said I was doing Reiki, people were like, what? What is that? What do you do? Oh, okay. It was really normal on the West Coast, right? West Coast is a little bit more progressive than the East Coast. It takes a little bit of time, I think, for things to catch up out here on the East Coast. So that was huge because I felt, I don't know, I didn't have like outright rejection. You know, people were generally like supportive of me and what I wanted to do, but like I felt the judgment. I felt it. I'm very energetically sensitive. And then people would follow up with maybe different questions like, oh yeah, well, like, when do you think that maybe you'll get a real job? Or like, when do you think you're gonna get married and have kids? And like all these norms that I was just like, fuck this. I'm just gonna do the opposite because this is what you're telling me that I'm supposed to do. And so now it's been, because I think I did that for a while too, where I just wanted to do the opposite of what I was being told to do. So now it has been me more just centering in and be like, okay, what really is true to myself? What really is what I desire? And then working towards creating that life, committing to myself, practicing showing up for myself every single day, especially in those 4 areas, the core 4, right? Because I know that when I start to align my mind, my body, my spirit, and my relationships, that everything else that I desire is going to start falling into place more easily, that I'm going to be a magnet for everything that I desire, and it's just going to start coming to me, right? Because I'm living in a more positive mindset. I'm feeling good about my life. I'm feeling good about who I encounter, how I'm engaging with the people in my life. And for me, the ways that I align those things is little practices, right? So like practicing meditation or practicing breathing exercises. And so creating action steps, essentially. So action steps within my core 4, within my 4 main mind, my expansion, my learning, my business skills, everything that I'm absorbing up here in my mind, my body, my physical well-being, how I feel. How you feel is a huge part of how you're showing up in the world. Whether, you know, and I'm not saying like be an intense, like workout person or whatever, but like find something that you enjoy, that you move your body doing. Eat healthy foods. Those things make you feel good. They may not be good in the moment and you may be like, but like with practice and time, you feel later how good your body feels. And it's like, oh, wow, this is something that I should probably do and incorporate in my life because it makes me feel better. Hi, Bailey. Thank you for joining. And then with our balance, right? Our relationships, how we're showing up. If we're just resentful at everybody that is connected within our life, like we're probably not going to be showing up in the rest of the world in a good space because we're going to be negative as fuck. And we're going to be like, I don't really want to talk to you. And we're just going to have that kind of negative outlook because we just feel not really people-y, right? I mean, when we start to think about when your relationships are flowing and they feel very dynamic, you feel like very open, right? And you're like, yeah, like I can talk to people, I can, you know, I can make new friends, like all this stuff, right? But if your relationships aren't going that great, then there's probably some things to look at and adjust so that you can align the rest of your life. And then our spiritual connection. That's huge because, you know, and nature can be your spiritual connection. It doesn't have to be God, but whatever it is, when you're tapping in and connecting and feeling grateful for the life that you live and just for the things that are provided for you, all of this stuff brings a balance between all these core 4 areas. And then, like I said, it magnetizes us and helps us to bring these things into our life. So creating action steps. What are the action steps that are going to get you to those places? Now, this is where we start to self-sabotage, right? And we let fear creep in and other things. What happens is we don't trust ourselves. because we will make ourselves a huge promise, this huge commitment, and we're like, oh man, I'm gonna cut out all carbs and all sugar, right? And then what happens? You eat carbs, you eat sugar. And so then what you've done is you created this mental loop of distrust for yourself. And then what happens is we keep doing that and keep doing that and keep doing that. And then it rolls into this big ball of perpetual mistrust for ourselves. So then we get disheartened. We don't believe ourselves when we say we're going to do something. We don't even attempt to go for our dreams and go for these things we desire, because we've created this huge wall of fear that and not even fear, just like disbelief. Like it's not going to happen. You're not going to do it this time. And then that creates that negative self-talk in your head where it's like, well, you couldn't do it before. You're not actually going to do it this time, right? So how do we fix that? How do we adjust that? Because we have to start being true to ourselves in order for ourselves to trust ourselves again. I know I just said ourselves a whole lot of times in that one little space, but we have to learn how to trust. And that's not going to happen until we can start honoring what our agreements are with us. So how do we do that? By meeting yourself where you are at, bringing gentleness and compassion, of course. I know that's hard. It's a practice. Like I said, we're here practicing. Every day is a new day for you to practice these things. And so when we meet ourselves where we're at, what does that mean? That means not making yourself some huge, grandiose promise that you may not be able to keep. But what's a little promise? What's a little step that you can take that's going to move you a little bit closer to where it is that you want to go? Maybe it's just breathing in the morning, waking up and taking a big breath and thinking of something that you're grateful for. Maybe you just start there and then you do that. You do that over and over again because this is the promise that you made yourself, and that's an easy step, right? That's something easily accomplished. And then once you nail that one, you can move on to another one. And I'm not saying you have to take one at a time, do what feels right. Do what feels good in the moment for you to take on for yourself, meet yourself where you're at, and then begin these practices. So what are the little action steps that can lead you up to the bigger action steps? Because this builds off of each other. What we're doing here is we're building a foundation, right? So we build that foundation, and then what's gonna happen? It's big and it's solid. It's good, right? And so then you can build off that a little bit more. And then you can build off that a little bit more. And then what happens when we're building this foundation up? It gets bigger and bigger. So we can start to make bigger action steps and bigger promises to ourselves because we build up that trust muscle. We've built up that nice, strong foundation. We have this to fall back on and feel secure and grounded, right? And then we can start doing the bigger things. It just happens. You don't even really have to think about it. It's just a natural order of progression that's going to take place because you've committed to yourself on this lower level, this more foundational level. So fear is an emotional response. And what happens to us is we feel it in our body. It's a chemical that's released in our brain, and then we feel a certain type of way. And when we've done that to ourselves enough times, we become addicted to that chemical response. But I can tell you something, feeling good, feeling accomplished, and feeling whole, those feelings beat out the feelings of fear every single time. It's just that we're so used to that loop that it's familiar, right? And so we're holding on to it because we're like, I just need this familiar feeling. And that's why we self-sabotage and we shake things up and we do these things because we're like, I just need that chemical response. But when we start wiring the neural pathways in our brain to release the chemical responses of serotonin, dopamine, all those things, right? Then what we're doing is it's like giving ourselves a treat, right? Every time we do something good, we keep hardwiring it. We keep doing it. We keep doing it. And we make those little commitments to ourselves and we make those little promises to ourselves and build and we build and we build. So we want to break the habit of being addicted to that chemical response of fear and self-sabotage. We create a loop It's a self-sabotaging loop that we're stuck in, right? And we're just, what's the definition of insanity? I know everyone's heard this one, doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. So if you're tired of feeling insane, if you want to create this life that you know you deserve, deep down, you really feel you deserve, what's it gonna take? It's gonna take work. And like I said, it's gonna take commitment to yourself, making those practices, practice every single day. It's just practice. I had a yoga teacher who I love from Texas, and he would always say that when we were practicing, we'd get so serious and he'd be like, hey, put a smile on your face. It's just practice. Because it is. That's all of life. It's just practice. We're not always gonna get it right every time, and we're not always gonna be successful 100% of the time, but that's okay, because we can expect that and know that failure is part of it. We don't have to get so down and out when we fail, that we can get ourselves back up and do it again, because it's just practice. And we don't have to take everything so seriously. I think as humans, and I'm guilty of this, right? I will take the smallest thing and intellectualize the fuck out of it and just like tear it all up into a million little pieces in my brain and make it so serious, when it's like, if I just took 5 steps back from this, took a deep breath and centered myself, it would not be that intense. But we do that to ourselves. We make it, all or nothing. We make it so black and white. We make it extreme, when it's really, it's just humanness. It's just being human. And like I said, showing up for yourself and meeting yourself where you're at and being compassionate and being gentle with where you are. So when we start taking those action steps to create the new chemical responses within our body, like I said, we're creating the new neural pathways, and this is a win. All wins are wins, even if they're little tiny baby wins. It's a win, and it should be celebrated. And I think that we don't celebrate those little wins enough, because we're looking at this big picture and we're like, oh, but I'm not there yet. Who cares? You had a win today. Celebrate yourself for that win. That's amazing. And that's gonna keep you, like I said, it's like giving yourself a treat. If you're treating yourself with honor and respect and giving yourself credit for those little wins, I guarantee you'll wanna do more wins, because you'll like the way that you're being treated by yourself. You'll be like, oh, hey, I was so nice to myself, and I really loved myself when I had that win, and that felt so good. I'm gonna do that again. And you create this, like I said, this positive patterning. We're rewiring those neural pathways to go in this new way. It's hard when you're rewiring a neural pathway. I always like to explain it that it's like a field in your mind, right? And you can go the path that's trodden and that's cleared away and there's no brush and it's easy. It's so easy, right? Because you've gone that way 1,000 different times. And when we're going a new way, it's tough, because we've never gone that way before, and it's grown over, and you might nick yourself, and it might hurt, and it might be hard and a little bit painful, but each time you do it and you take that new way, it gets a little bit easier, because you're paving away the brush, you're clearing away the path, and a little bit more each time. It's a little bit more clear, and you're able to get through a little bit easier. And then before you know it, it becomes secondhand nature. You don't even think of it. You just walk on the path like it's a normal path, just like the path you were walking on before. That was an old, outdated habit, right? And when we practice building these new habits and making these new neural pathways, we're keeping our brain alive too. We're keeping our brain young. It's amazing. We can always teach ourselves something new. It's just habit and practice. And so, like I said, those little wins are important, because that's going to keep you going on that path that's a little bit more difficult until you pave the way. So, for example, let's give an example, right? If you're working to achieve a fitness goal and you want to get in shape, or you're like trying to tone your body, right? Maybe don't start out with saying, I'm going to go to the gym 5 to 7 days a week, because that sounds really intense for someone who doesn't do much physical activity. You should probably start, do whatever feels right to you, but if you don't want to burn out, because that's used to be what happened to me. I'd be like, oh my God, yeah, I'm gonna get fit, I'm gonna go to the gym. And then I was going like 5 to 7 times a week. And then I would go for like a month, 2 months, and I was like, I'm done. And I wouldn't even say that. I just stopped. I started going less and less and less and less and doing my other things and, going back to the old pathways that were really, really easy because I tried to take on too much at once. So if I'm trying to get in shape, maybe just start by moving my body, moving it in the morning when I first wake up by doing stretches or doing slow yoga flows or strength building exercises that are, that I can do with ease, or maybe go 3 times a week. And then maybe the rest of the week you're going on walks and you're dancing and you're just like stretching and moving and creating movement in your life, right? So that's a rule that I live by. I move my body for at least an hour every day, but I do all different things. Sometimes I go on a hike, sometimes I go to the gym, sometimes I do yoga, sometimes I go on a walk, sometimes I'm just like doing planks and like other movement things, that because like if I don't have time and I'm kind of like in the middle of doing something like, I don't know, or I'll do a down dog, and like I just make sure that I'm moving my body, because this really gets me out of here and in here, because so much we're stuck up here, right? And especially if we don't meditate or do other things, we are like running like marathons up here, and we need to get in our bodies. But that's a side note. So this was my example, right? We just don't start off the like way up here. When we're here, we can't start up here and expect to sustain that, right? We have to take those little half steps in between that get us up to here eventually. And then it was easy. And you're like, look back and you're like, wow, I'm not even thinking of it. I just need to do more because my body is used to doing what I was doing. And now it's time to take on more, right? So this is what builds consistency. And like I said, I gave that example. So have you ever had a time in your life where you're super, super motivated and went all in, but then a week or two or even a month later, you just completely burnt out and lost steam? So that's what happens when we don't build up that consistency. All right, I'm gonna give you guys a secret. I'm gonna give you guys a tip right here, right now, okay? This is so game changing. If you can fall into this vibration, this will change everything for you. Creating these new action steps and habits, right? To when we're doing this, these little steps, these little micro changes to build up to the macro changes, this daily practice. If we fall in love with the process, the results will come. If you fall in love with the process of making your life better and of finding little joys in the things that you are doing, you won't even have to think about it. It won't be a struggle, and the results will just come to you. But like I said, we can't get hard on ourselves when we're making those little wins and we're like, well, I'm not where I want to be yet. It's not that big win that I want. Because you're shitting on yourself. Of course your self-conscious or your subconscious is going to be like, cool, I can see how appreciative you are of me and how far that we've come, right? And so when we just fall in love with the process of the things that we're doing on a day-to-day basis, I wake up, I take a deep breath. I think about what I'm grateful for. I ground myself in gratitude. I find a way to get in my body and think, man, how awesome is it that I'm like this starseed being and I have this body that I can move around in and like do all this cool shit with. And that my body like can move and do stuff. Like thinking about these small little wins and falling in love with the process of just being alive is going to bring you so much magnetism to bring all of the things that you desire into your life towards you. So when we focus on the enjoyment of doing these things, the rest of our life just falls perfectly into place. We start to fall in love with the process, and this helps us to build our trust muscle that we were talking about, that self-trust muscle, right? And then the bigger, greater things can start to come into our life. But we have to start where we're at. We have to meet ourselves where we're at. So we can start to see how it actually gets there. So then it's like, it's like a ball or like a snowball, right? Like when we start that, we're starting it and it's going and it's going, and then it just starts rolling and it's getting bigger. And so our stuff that we're wanting is coming to us, we're magnetizing, and then more of it just starts coming. And then it's like, oh shit, I have all the stuff that I wanted is coming towards me. And then more of it starts coming and more of it, because you are in the process of building that trust muscle while you're also magnetizing and also, you know, so it's all happening. And then it starts happening quicker and quicker and more and bigger and bigger. And then it's like, whoa, because if you can see it, you believe it, right? I mean, we're supposed to have that faith, and that's kind of what you need in this place right now. If you're just, you know, if you're down here and you want to be up here, like, I have faith. I know that if I keep doing these little things, it's going to get me here. If you look at, like I said last week, anybody that's created the life of their dreams, what did they have to put in? Consistent effort, commitment, showing up for themselves, and daily practice. So this is the place that we're at for today. I want you guys to sit with that and really, really think about that. I don't really have homework for you tonight, but I mean, I guess you can start thinking about what action steps that you could be taking to move you closer to the life of your dreams. Manageable action steps. What are the manageable action steps that you can take to move towards your desires? And then tomorrow, we're gonna go over some more tools and talk about creating daily habits. And I'll give you some of my tools that I use to help me create the daily habits that I do, and to get into my flow and to ground me and to get me closer to doing all of this, really. I mean, this is my dream, is to do all this for you guys. My dream's to be of service. How funny is that? You know, you move through all the things in life, and then the greatest joy for me is to be here for you guys and just to help you grow and watch you grow and see the beautiful transformations that you go through while I'm also transforming and moving and shifting. That's so beautiful to me. It's everything that I want. So I hope to see you here. And then also for the last day, for the 5th day, we're going to close everything up. And I'm really grateful for everybody that's been participating in this challenge. It really means so much to me that you guys would all come here and be a part of this. You know, I have a great love for most, like all of you that are here. I know a lot of you, some of you I don't know, but I'm just so grateful for you to be here and to share this space with me and to let me be a part of your transformative journey. It really means so much to me. So with that, we're going to close with a meditation, healing, breathing exercise. I'm going to call on Reiki and the Aquarian fire. Those are 2 energy modalities that I use. And our intention tonight is going to be to let go of fear and self-sabotaging behaviors. Let go of the fear and self-sabotaging behaviors that we have created for ourselves. So you can say that to yourself, that my intention is to let go of the fear and the self-sabotaging behaviors that I have created for myself, and just to be open to change. Just be open. Just a little doorway, a foot in the door is all we need, that willingness. And we can start to shift. Like I said last week on day 2, or I keep wanting to say last week, yesterday on day 2, it's the awareness, right? And when we start to bring that awareness, we're already coming with it strong. It's already going to start to shift because we have changed the dynamics just by observing it. So that willingness, that foot in the door, it's going to get us to where we want to get. So let's get ourselves into a settled place. I call on Reiki and Aquarian fire, and I just intend to be a channel, and that whoever is willing to receive right now in this transmission, this activation of letting go of the fears and self-sabotaging beliefs that we hold. Now open yourself up, that they would receive, whether they're watching it now or later. Energy is transferable, and we're all running parallel anyway, so whenever you're in the open mode to receive it and you're watching this, you are receiving it. Just know it and believe it. I invite you to take a deep breath in with me throughout your body. Let go, surrender, release. Where are you holding tension? Where are you holding on? And your body, your mind, your spirit, it's just ready to let go. Breathe into those spaces. Let's breathe in again together. And release. Surrender. Let's take one more breath together. Inhale. And surrender again. You can bring yourself to a quiet resting space. You can have palms open for receiving mode, or you can have palms down on your knees to ground yourself, whatever feels right to you. And just spine tall and aligned. If you're sitting or if you're laying down, that's fine too. And just sit or lay in an open receiving mode. And I'm going to send energy as we sit and meditate for a couple moments, just a couple minutes. If you lose your focus, you can come back to your heart space, your breath, your intention. I apologize for the chaotic Wilmington noises outside. That's what it's about, right? Finding peace amidst the chaos. When there's things going on around you and you're still able to find a moment in a center of peace, that's the true master. And we're just here practicing. It's just practice. Nobody's perfect. We're all human, and everybody's mind wanders. So just come to that centered place. Come back to your intention, and we'll take a couple minutes. Take a deep breath into your body. When you're ready, you can open your eyes and come back into the space. Thank you so much for everybody that joined in for the live. So like I said, and if you haven't watched days 1 and day 2, I encourage you to go back and watch days 1 and day 2, days 1 and 2. And then we have 2 more days left. Tomorrow 4, Friday 5. Thursday and Friday, I'm gonna be on here a little bit earlier than 7, like I said, so I will keep you posted and updated as to what time I will be logging on in the group. And that's it. I hope that this has been helpful to all of you. Thank you for your participation. And remember, just keep participating, keep commenting and saying different things and actively being here, because at the end of the challenge, one person will be picked to win a 30-minute session with me for free. So go back, comment on all the other videos, and make your presence known. And I will check in here with you tomorrow. I hope you all have a great evening. Ciao. Love you.